Hello, welcome to Dan's Model Works, and today we're going to take a look at Revell's Ford F-150 SVT Raptor. Now, this is a snap-tight kit, and I think a lot of experienced modelers are put off by snap-tight or snap-together kits, and I think I'd like to address that for a second. I was a snob as well. A lot of times I would be looking on the middle model shelves, and I'd say, oh, snap-together. Oh, snap-together. Two things changed my mind about this. Now, I still enjoy a challenging kit. However, when my daughters built some models a few years ago, they built some snap-together kits. One of my daughters put together two police cars, one by Lindbergh, one by Monogram. Now, the detail that was on the underside of those kits was simply stunning. Yes, it was all in one piece. Yes, you could argue that from certain angles, some parts should stand out. But if we open up a lot of kits that are re-releases from the 70s by AMT, MPC, things like that, a lot of those kits had the drivetrain molded into the pan. So we would just be thrilled to get the level of detail that's in this kit. The other thing is, there are some subjects you're just not going to get if you're not willing to go for a snap-tight kit. So far as I know, this is the only game in town if you want a Ford pickup truck from the year 2009 to 2014. I know that there's a model of the Super Duty, but I think this is the only one available of the F-150. Now, it's true, this is the Raptor. It has the flared fenders and the big engine and some of the graphics, but at least this is a factory truck. So if you're like me and you like building things basically stock or the way most people had them, this can easily fall within that. Anybody with the cash or credit could go to their Ford dealer and they could buy a Raptor and they could drive it around and it would look like this. So I'm going to point out some other things you could do to this kit once we get inside it. Okay, so let's take a look at this kit. If we look on the side, we have Revell's pretty much standard box side here with a potted history, and the kit is in 1/25 scale. Number of parts 48, it's molded in color, and the decals are peel and stick. Not really thrilled about that, but there are ways around that. If we flip the box around, we see there are some nice pictures of the model built up, some close-ups, and let's get the box open. Looks like everything is bagged up separately. We have one bag containing a lot of the black parts. The underframe isn't in a bag, but I don't see what could go wrong with it. A bag containing the chrome parts. We have 4 tires, and they are vinyl and some axles to hold the wheels. Now, as per normal Revell practice, there are no markings on the side of the tires. I understand that's to save some money on trademarks. We have another bag containing the body, and it looks like some clear sprues inside, and they're bagged separately as well. So kudos to Revell for making sure nothing gets damaged. We've got the instructions, and as I mentioned, the decals are peel and stick. I wouldn't worry about the background color there. That's just the color of the paper that's the background. When you peel these off, what should not be there will be clear. So you don't have to worry about, I've heard some people be concerned about the color of the backing. You don't have to worry about that. The actual stickers are clear. So we'll take a look at the instructions. Standard modern Revell instructions. Some nice pictures of the overall model here. Potted history, several different languages, and some notes. We'll get this open. They're calling out some colors should you decide to paint it. This sheet over here has a parts guide, tells you the name of all the different parts. Pretty basic assembly of the underside. Over here we've got not really the tub because the sidewalls are separate, which is a very nice feature. Putting the interior together, the dashboard looks like that is going to be a real treat. Separate sidewalls for the interior. Putting the window glass in. Final assembly of the main parts. And finally, finishing up the assembly. And here's a sticker guide. So let's move on to the parts. First thing we have, and for once I actually want to get some glare from the light going here, is the underside. I don't think you could really ask for any more detail underneath here. All the front suspension is here. You can see the underside of the engine. The spare tire, certainly from underneath, looks like the real deal. You can see the exhaust here, and I'm pretty sure there's a separate stub that goes on the back here that's more three-dimensional. So this looks really good. Now, the only thing I don't like about this underside is when we flip it like this. There, we can see this giant rectangle here. Now, on the real truck, that should be a large coil spring and a couple of shock absorbers in there. And if we go to the underside, just get the light a little bit better in here. Don't know if this picks up, but the rear axle just flows right into the underside. And that's something when you're looking at the back of the completed model you can probably see. So I have a few suggestions as to how more experienced modelers could deal with this. But the target audience of this kit, which is first-time model builders, I think they will be more than happy with the underside of this. This is a fantastic piece of tool making. Now we'll move on to the main bag of black parts. The first sprue looks like this is the back of the tailgate. This is the grille with the giant Ford logo on it. Back bumper, and it looks like the mirrors. These guys are some vents that go on top of the hood. Now we have the interior. The front seats, back seats, and the backings for them. Now there's a small hole there, I guess, which goes onto these pins. But let's face it, these seats are going to be leaning back. You probably won't see that. And an experienced modeler, really, you can fill that. Glue it together, fill it, you'll be fine. These parts will look great. Now we have more interior parts. And this is what I really, really love about the newer kits. Whether they be snap together or glue together kits, instead of giving you a tub where the sidewalls have very little detail to them, these separate sidewalls, all of the armrests and buttons and things like that are molded really, really nicely. This certainly is one of the better steering wheels I've ever seen. Next up, we have the floor pan and the dashboard being molded all in black. Kind of hard for the camera to pick it up. There's a good angle. We're getting some good detail showing there. This is beautiful. And not only that, all the pedals are hanging down on the bottom. So more experienced modelers, once again, if you paint this up, maybe a light gray or something like that, or I should say a dark gray. I'd have to look inside a real Raptor to find out. All this detail should really, really show nicely. Moving on to the chrome sprue. There's not a lot here, but the real truck doesn't have a lot of chrome either. And we really can't complain too much about, oh, look at those fancy wheels. I want plain wheels. Well, Raptors all came with these awesome, cool, shiny wheels. These, I believe, go inside the mirrors, and I can actually turn it right. I can actually see a reflection in there. So You won't have to be cutting up a chip bag and gluing the inside to get your mirrors with this. This, I believe, is the tailpipes. The last bag contains our body. And tucked up for safety, we have this bag. These are the rear windows, and they are tinted. This bag contains the windshield. It is not tinted, and as well it has the sunroof, which I think should be tinted, I don't know. As well as we have our headlight lenses and things in here. Now, I really have to hand it to Revell to go to the effort of modeling the back windows in tinted glass. I think that's a nice touch, because on the real thing, your back windows generally will have more tint than your windshield will. Finally, the body. And looking at this, I don't see any flash. I don't even really see any mold lines. Here's the bed, and just set those together. Kind of makes you wonder how they can call it a truck. There's more cab and engine than there is cargo capacity. But I digress. The color is nice. The only thing I'd have to say is it's more of a semi-gloss versus a high gloss. Beginners who will put this together and won't worry about painting it, they're going to be more than happy with this. If you're a more experienced modeler, by all means, you can certainly give this a shot of some nice high gloss paint, and this will turn out really, really nice. And finally, let's look at the stickers. Now, if you really don't want to use stickers, but you still want these markings, here's a suggestion. Take a white piece of cardstock or piece of styrene, put all these markings on them. Then take that to your computer, or if you don't have a computer or you don't have a scanner, scan it. There are companies that sell decal film, all one sheet. You can then print these decals off, or this image off, on the decal paper, and now you've got water slide decals you can use on your model. So you don't have to say, oh geez, too bad it's a sticker. You can turn this into a water slide if you like. Now, I promised I would offer a couple suggestions about the underside here. So if we look at these great big huge rectangles, more experienced modelers, there's nothing keeping you from taking a Dremel and hogging this whole pyramid assembly out, at least up to here, so your wheels will still be in place. That would get rid of that rectangle. You can blank out the wheel well to make it a full wheel well again. And there are other kits that may have coil springs you could use. You could make coil springs using some styrene and a screwdriver handle or something like that, or I should say the shank of a screwdriver, and you could build that detail. Let's face it, if you're going to be upset over the kit being too easy, you can make the kit as difficult as you want. You can add as much detail as you want to this kit. The rear axle, you could cut that off, heal the underside of it, heal the parts that have been removed, reinstall it. You don't have to turn your nose up at this and say, oh, yeah, well, it's too easy. Oh, well, the detail, isn't separate like it should. If you really enjoy a challenge, you can change that on this model. So I think for the beginner, this kit is amazing. I can't see how a new modeler could make a mess of this. As we used to say in model railroading, it's something of a shake the box kit. We would say, put the glue in, shake the box, dump it out, and your kit is done. in snap together form, that's what this is. If you want to go farther with this, everything you really need is here. And you could even cut the hood off and put an engine in here. Lots of engines available. The main thing you'd want to do is get some pictures of the engine bay of a real Raptor, and those pictures are out there. And you could take an older engine and kit bash it into a more modern engine. So all in all, I'd have to say the Revell F-150 Raptor is an excellent kit. Have a nice day.